Hello and welcome to DCP. This is the unknown number episode. This is the lost.
I think
episode.
370.
370.
Was it?
Nice,
Oh, it was
Frank.
336. Oh, right, because we were like 369. Damn, you're
that's
fine.
right. We didn't
Oh,
realize
yeah.
it was 369 until it was over. Sadly,
We realized there was and then we
You know
started
this
singing
is?
nursery rhymes and all sorts of stuff.
369 part 2.
369 part 2.
That's true. I got a perfect game to talk about that fits with the 69 thing later.
Nice. I can't wait. We got to talk about the big news this week, of course. Big news.
Big
Lewis
Destiny
Hamilton
news.
has joined Ferrari. Shocking. Nobody saw it coming.
He got me.
Joe Blackburn left Bungie, or is leaving Bungie.
He is leaving Bungie. Yeah, we got a tweet from Joe just saying that they're kind of doing this big internal playtest of the final shape and everything, and then he'll be leaving shortly after that. So he is leaving before the final shape comes out, but not right now, this second.
Who's Joe Blackburn?
Joe Blackburn he's been with Bungie for a while, but he kind of left after. Did he come back during Beyond Light? Or he left at Beyond? I think he came back for Beyond Light, but he left and went to Riot for a bit, moved to California, came back to Bungie, and then he's been the game director. So
Yes.
he's been, leading Destiny for a little while now. But I think the more important thing is, at least for us, is that he's kind of been the only face for a little while that we've had who's just like talking to us as a gamer to gamer and
Was
sitting
it
down.
last summer that he kind of did the bad post and
Yes.
then the good
Yes.
post?
Well, the
Yes,
team had done. Yeah, exactly. He's
Yeah.
the person who's had to. Honestly, he's been the shield, right? So he's had to take a lot of that and talk to the community directly as game director.
Which I'm sure is exhausting. I mean, I think being like
tough
the
job.
face of like Bungie or Riot or whatever is probably pretty rough.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like not to take away from the community team, obviously, and what
Yeah.
was the community team is, we know there was layoffs and stuff last
Yeah.
year, but not only that just happens. Like you want to be personal with the community, tell them what you're up to from the people making the game. But yeah, that's who this is. Like he's making the final shape with the team, and he's talking to you directly, and he even did some streams, right, and saying like, look, let's get together. So he's that guy.
Yeah, he's been
And
pretty much the face of Bungie for very
Since
publicly
Luke
a lot of
for
ways.
6
kind
months,
of
I would
went
say.
to his other, Luke Smith went to his other kind of job at Bungie. He's still on Destiny, but he's in charge of like the Destiny
Franchise.
franchise director. So yeah, he has been kind of the face of Bungie outside of the community team for a little bit now.
Yeah.
He also
But-
plays a lot of Destiny. Like he plays a ton of Destiny. So I always
Yes.
appreciate having someone at the helm who plays a lot of Destiny.
Right.
But yeah,
that's
it
good.
was so big they put it in the TWAB. So I don't know if we want to read
They
from
did
that
put
at
it in
all,
the
or if Watts
TWAB,
wants
yeah.
to summarize it.
Before we go to the TWAB, I don't know if this will say much, but I did want to bring up that Luke Smith had not tweeted for a very long time. He actually deleted all of his tweets on Twitter back when he kind of stepped away from Twitter.
Nice.
But as soon as Joe announced that he was leaving, Luke came to Twitter and wrote about his experience with Joe when he interviewed him to join the raid team in 2014. And then when he left and then came back, and then he led everyone through the Witch Queen, which obviously was incredible. So he's just took to Twitter and talked about Joe, and then also talked about Tyson Green, who is going to be taking over as game director. And we do actually hear from him in the TWAB. So we will get to that. But that just made me interested because I was like, Tyson doesn't have social media. He doesn't do it. So that
so
made me
he's
go
smart.
like, is Luke going to talk to the community? Is he going to be like, because he's been that before. I don't know if he'd want to do it again.
Yeah, no, I think your read on it was good. He only updates when it's super important. And I think it's like, while we're sitting here talking about it, they've got a change in game director. The game's coming to a conclusion of its huge, epic quadrilogy or whatever, or 10 years, and it's that important for the franchise that he wants to talk about what's going on with the team and how much Joe, frankly, is part of what he was talking about, how important Joe has been and paying respect to that and passing the torch to Tyson.
Yes. So that takes us to the TWAB. where they say that Tyson is already he's already directed Halo Myth. So this man has been around for a very long time. He's been
Myth.
around since
Wow.
Myth 2, I think it was.
Myth was a Mac only game in like the 90s.
Yeah, he's an old school Bungie guy. So this is from Tyson. My time working with Bungie started with Myth 2 back in 1998 and has carried through almost every product we've released since. I'm pleased to be a part of Destiny from essentially the beginning, from early days introducing loot to our shooter culture, to more recent days guiding the brilliant teams responsible for the breadth of Destiny's core systems: reward, combat, activity, social, and commerce systems. Joe has always brought a lot of energy and creative vigor to the team, and it's been a pleasure to work on Destiny with him as a teammate and a friend. I expect we're going to miss him terribly. To step into his role is humbling, but also energizing, and I look forward to carrying on his work in service to our players and our team. My passion as a developer has always been to build the supports around which a community can grow. I came to Bungie from the fan community and aspire to build things that players can share as common interests. From Halo 3's Forge and file share systems to Destiny's build crafting and Fireteam Finder, I am proudest of the things that bring our community together in collaboration. I look forward to much more opportunities in the final shape and the years of Destiny beyond. That's
Yeah,
from
wow.
Tyson.
Even after browsing some of that, I forgot. It's like, yeah, wait, he's been there forever.
Yeah.
And just as a good reminder, the face of the game and for the community, you've got folks, you've had like Deej, you've had a lot of that, but there's so many people involved. And this is, even though the game director is super important, so is everybody else. And it's not that Tyson has not been working heavily on the game. Has been with Bungie forever. So in some ways, that's always very exciting. We saw the same thing with Joe. It always takes a little while. You're like, wait, who's the new kid in class, And then you're like, oh, all right, you're pretty cool, actually. So it's important to remember that. Watts, you pointed out, though, maybe a really important read on what they noted about where this sits in the timeline of like what's going on, right?
Yeah, so they did mention that they're closing their polish process for the final shape, our episodes, and our future redacted plans. Which that to me, when I first read of that, I was like, that sounds like an expansion. And there's been a lot of talk in the community of like, are they just done with expansions forever? Because they mention here episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then they mention future redacted. So that's a separate thing to episodes.
Yeah, it's now there's a few ways to read into it because of the commas, but the point is, and I think where you were very astute in pointing that out, Watts, was like, it's three things. Yeah. In our minds right now, we knew they announced the final shape, the new date, and they said we're replacing seasons with episodes. I believe it was like 3 a year, right? So every 4 months, episodes are going to be different, and they gave us like a look at like potentially the structure of them. But they never said, and our future Destiny plans.
Right.
And that's
they
what
haven't really said anything about post episodes.
Well, they have said there will be DLC after the final shape. They said it a long time ago, but they laid out like a multi-year plan.
But that's just like, the episodes.
Yeah.
No, this was like they named like this was before Beyond Light came out, because they named like Beyond Light, the final shape. It was the first time we ever heard of the final shape, and then they talked about like big DLCs after that as well. Like it's going to continue after the final shape.
Right. But remember, that is the current structure, meaning you're going back in time to what they said before last August update. So I'm not 100%. Saying you're wrong. But you're right. They've talked about a lot of ways, but meaning I think that was just presenting. Originally, we were going to have Beyond Light, the Witch Queen, and remember the final shape originally. And then they slipped in like it was the next year, and they're like, and by the way, the latest update, and they just showed that Lightfall's part of this, and the speculation and some sort of leakage maybe was that Lightfall needed to be in there because they needed more time to do the final shape. And I think we're very much seeing that. So it became 4 things instead of 3. And then they came in this last August and said, the final shape, it's happening. It's our most important thing ever. And we're changing seasons. Now we'll just have episodes. And then now they're saying, and our future redacted plans. But just to finish my thought, what I was saying, you could read it very like in a less conspiracy tinfoil hat way, which is our jobs here. but it's the final shape, our episodes, and whatever's in the future. Our future redacted plans. It doesn't mean it's separate from that structure, but it does for the first time ever since I watched the Final Shape showcase and the Destiny showcase, that is. It was the first time I heard them talk about Destiny in a way where I felt like they were like, not totally sure. We've been tinkering around with a lot of ideas, and they just had gotten purchased by Sony. And so I think there's definitely something going on there with like, what does it mean,
Yeah.
It's a big moment.
So it was nice. It's nice to see the mention of future redacted plans, because this is post them pushing it back, the Final Shape back. It's post them talking about episodes. So this is a different thing to those two things. So something else is coming. We don't know what it is.
Yeah. So what was fun this week for me was watching the community reaction, right? It's like watching YouTube videos. Everybody's making YouTube videos. Joe Blackburn's leaving. What does that mean for the future of Destiny? And everybody, frankly, had pretty different takes on what it means. A lot of people, or some people were pretty like, hey, this is something that happens. People move on in careers. I wouldn't expect any significant changes in the direction of Destiny. Other people were like, look, if you change the leadership of Destiny's if you change the game director, you're changing the direction of Destiny, right? Who knows what's going to happen, right? It could go in a completely different way. Some people were really excited. Some people were very doom and gloom about it because, let's face it, there's been a lot of bad news over the last year for Destiny fans. And I don't know. I think this could be interpreted as a good thing, a bad thing, or just a neutral thing. I don't think we're going to know for years like how this is going to play out for the Destiny community. But it's been very interesting watching the community react to it.
I would love to put on my Corpa hat and give you a
it.
read on that.
Throw that thing on. Does it shape like a triangle? Does it have any words on the front?
It's not a tinfoil hat because it's a Corpa hat. So Corpa boss hat.
Maybe like a train conductor. That's the vibes I'm getting.
We need a sound effect for that.
Train conductor hat.
Yeah, it's funny. Kind of funny. They do the speculation station actually, and they run. It's exactly that, but from a corporate perspective. But well, you were hitting on it, Briar, which is we now saw the end of last year was a bloodletting. It was for Bungie in terms of layoffs. They've really tightened up a lot. You had a corporate takeover, so to speak, sort of. I wouldn't label Sony as that. Because it is, but it's also not like Bungie didn't, have a lot of control over what they wanted that to be. But anyway, lots of layoffs, and then the beginning of this year has been just filled with it too. So all I wanted to say, and this is not a slight at what's happening or Joe himself or anything. It honestly sounds like as part of that, it might have been a choice to him in the team that you're left with and the plans you're left with. It also could have been, well, we want to offer you this even, better package. You finish up, because, we got to let you finish Final Shape and get all this stuff done. But here's a killer package if you would like to move on, because this happens all the time. And Tyson is already there. In other words, are they going to hire for Tyson's position? They'll probably promote. And in other words, how are you going to backfill these people? Or I'm just getting at, and this is not a doom and gloom. We've seen incredible games from teams of varying sizes. But the point is, it might very much be that the entire tightening of the ship, if you look at all the layouts, and there's we're going to get as tight as possible, hit all of the, stuff that's working for us. But yeah, I think it puts Destiny in an interesting time where they spent a lot of time expanding, and now they have to get a rhythm. In other words, we saw billions of dollars from Sony just spent on Bungie, but are they willing to invest just fun party dollars into Destiny at this point, or are they trying to run a very tight ship? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
In terms of Joe leaving, I think it's probably him just deciding that he wants to do something else. I think that being the face of Destiny, especially in this period of time, is really, really
awesome.
difficult. Yeah, well, we hear about a lot of devs, everywhere, but we have heard it from people at Bungie have dealt with a lot of death threats and harassment and doxing and etc. So I have no idea what Joe has been through, but I can only imagine that there's been at least one person out there who's been doing something not so great. And I can assume that just gets exhausting.
Yep. No, I think you're nailing it there, Watts. Like I was saying, he's the shield. They keep putting him out there, which is a good thing, and I'm sure he wants to do it. He probably had a choice to volunteer, but also you got to remember he is the shield for the team at Bungie. And so he has to double down on just taking a lot of bullets, probably. So they could literally be that, like, I love what we've done. But as we've seen with, you're right, a lot of people too. They're just starting new studios, like the Rocksteady conversation, and we'll probably talk about Suicide Squad later.
We will.
Yeah, but they started a new studio. Some of those folks, we see that a lot, and sometimes it's literally like, we need a fresh start because this is just, it's been amazing, but we've gotten so big, it's been exhausting. I want something a little smaller, like the Concord team, for example. Like part of me, I was like, are they going to, is he going over there maybe, you know, like, there's a lot of really good opportunities without maybe as much noise at a huge AAA 10-year franchise, you know, director. So
yeah, I mean, if he goes to Concord, that'd be awesome. If you guys don't know, Concord is a game that is being made by a lot of old Destiny folks. So you've got people like Hamrick in there, Noose, who obviously made the way that guns feeling really good. Like that's partly down to those dudes. You've got Cloud is over there, Firewalk Studios, yes. And he worked on like Arcstrider for Destiny 2. So there's a lot of very talented people who did good stuff at Bungie working over there, and Concord's gonna be a competitive FPS game.
Yeah.
So
but interestingly, they're part of the PlayStation family.
They are,
So
they got taken in by PlayStation. Yep.
So they're kind of like a little Bungie sister studio. So
I would guess it's
in a way,
not
I'm
easy
just saying
being
that
part of a live service team because you've got to imagine that you just never get like a break, right? It's like as soon as you're delivering something, you're already on to the next thing. Like the next 3 things are planned out. Like, you know, so you're just like on a smaller scale, right? It's like when I make a video and I post it on YouTube, I get to feel like relaxed and relieved, and I walk away from the computer and I have dinner with my wife, and maybe the next day I go kayaking or I go do whatever I want. But like with a live service, you just have to have you're planning it out and you're just on to the next thing every time, right? Like it's just got to be a high stress position to be in.
Yeah.
It is, I've talked to people who have worked on other games that are live service, and they're like, I don't want to work on a live service game again. It's just constant. You never get to have a period of like, we did it, we did the thing, woo! And just like chill for a bit, fix some bugs. It's like, okay, next, let's go.
And you're working on the same project for, a decade.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing. Like you have to imagine that a lot of people in game dev are creatives, right? They're creative people designing stuff, coming up with things that they want to do. And if you're doing the same game and the same thing, same everything for 10 years, I think a lot of creative people will be like, I want to work on something totally different universe, different game style, try and maybe go learn again. Because I think there does get to a point where you're not really learning anymore. You're making Destiny. So having the feeling of like, I'm going to go make a real-time strategy game and learn what's up with that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see myself wanting to do that.
The great irony is that is what Bungie's DNA is composed of. Like, meaning they got to that point with Halo and they said, we just want to do Destiny. We want to do something big and exciting and new. And then they did it. And now we see those gears churning with Marathon. We do know, of course, they kind of want to be a multi-game studio now, but the point is, like, they represent that, they get it, they know that they're making a lot of people spend a lot of time on single franchise, but that's also why we've seen a lot of good graduation within the team, I think, and the team's moving on, and that we know, like, a lot of the fans, there's really smart people from the Destiny team working on Marathon, and they took it as like, great, now who's working on Destiny, and they're leaving to work on the other game, and it's like, listen to what Watts was just saying. It's like these people, they gotta like work on new stuff. You would be excited. That doesn't mean that it's all doom and gloom. Like we've literally got people from the community, like T-Rex, like working on the raid, the team fire team finder. Like meaning these are really awesome people to have on the game, and so I think there's plenty of good potential and optimism for Destiny, even though it's hitting this weird landmark, but. am very curious how they're structuring it. And live service as a
Yeah.
game is going through this explosion of like, people are getting tired of the passes, of the grind. I mean, on paper, money wise, I don't know, but what does it mean
I'm
for the
kind of
people
hopeful,
who really?
to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of like I'm sitting here and I'm kind of like, you know, as a person who hasn't been happy with the direction of Destiny has gone in over the last few years, I don't know, maybe a new director will kind of steer it in a path that I like more, you know, because what do I got to lose?
Yeah, and I think it's not even, that's what we've seen. It's not like better or worse. It's different, and that's a good thing, right? How do you get a new mind?
Different
Yeah.
is good for a game that's 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like Briar.
we'll see what it ends up going.
I was gonna say, Briar, you like beer. You have your
I
favorites,
love beer.
right? But every once in a while, I
Boy,
would
you know me
hope.
so good.
I do.
Briar's face lit up. He's like,
Beer?
Are we going to talk about beer?
I feel like we've talked about it. But I mean, I assume there's a time or two when somebody recommends, like, you should really try this, and you're like, actually, that was pretty good. But you wouldn't have tried it without their push, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what game directors can do, at a minimum, amongst the whole team. So yeah, I think it's a good thing. It means awesome new beers.
I love new beers. I love old beers, too. I love all beers.
Peers and beers. I would launch an in Bungie event once a month called Peers and Beers. Peers, yeah, my peers and beers. Yeah. We're gonna come up with some great ideas.
Yeah,
and they can
we're
work
not gonna
on
invite HR.
game jams.
They can work on what, Watts?
Game jams, where they'll put together maybe something like a dating sim, perhaps.
Yeah, it's funny. I was like, oh, she's talking about it. Not everybody probably heard this. What was this is really funny.
So there was an article that came out talking about a Destiny dating sim was a thing that happened, but you'll probably never see it. So that was like the title of the article. But then people on Twitter took it and they were like, oh, they made a dating sim, but it never came out. And everyone in the comments was like, so this is what they're spending all their money on. This is what they're spending all their time on instead of making PvP maps.
That's
God forbid anybody gets to have fucking fun around here.
Well, this is the thing. So they didn't read the article, and then if they did, they didn't understand the article, because in the article it says this was a part of a game jam. And the way that this information came to be is there was an interview with journalists, and one of the journalists was like, did you ever make like a dating sim or something? And Jonathan Toe, who is an awesome writer, was like, actually we did as part of a game jam. And that was it. And a game jam is, in case you don't know, it's where for like an afternoon people just go and work on something creative, making a different game, whether it's in like the Destiny engine or something completely different, and you just see what you can come up with. It's supposed to be like a morale event where you get to work either by yourself or with other people, and you get to be creative and get the creative juices flowing and make something fun. Like they've talked before that they made a fighting game in the Destiny universe. And one of them was a dating game. One of them was a dating sim that they
remember when Master Chief was in Dead or Alive?
Oh my god. Yeah.
He was?
As like they're the platform specific.
He was?
There was like the Nintendo specific one was Link or something.
That was Soul Calibur.
Well, that was Soul Calibur.
That was Soul Calibur. Yep.
Which had the three. Who was it? That was Link,
Darth Vader, Soul Calibur, and Spawn.
And Yoda was in there too.
Yoda was in there too. Yeah.
But who else? Somebody else was in there, a third.
Spawn.
Oh, really?
I think so.
I forgot Spawn, dude. I think you're right,
Kratos
man.
was in one of them too.
That was later stuff, yeah. But Spawn in Soul Calibur.
Yeah. But Link was
which is one word.
Sadly, you had to use a GameCube controller.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know it. Soul Calibur is one word. It's something I learned writing many times and being corrected. It's super weird.
People on this podcast.
That's right. Dude, it's crazy. It's like officially, and I'm pretty sure they might have finally changed. Maybe they changed it now, but it used to not be even intercapped. I don't think they would just write it as Soul Calibur.
Was Soul Edge one word?
I don't know about the Soul Edge. You'd think it would be, but I don't know what a caliber is versus the edge. Anyway, I was going to say back to the game jam stuff. Yeah, like stop taking such cynical views. We know we won't stop people by saying that, but like for real, this is very common. And if you watch some Bungie
Yes.
documentaries, they actually show you the whole point of it is supposed to be a hands-off, like, yeah, free thinking. A lot of companies do this. The point is to come up with like the Destiny dating sim and be like, what? That is so off the walls. And like everybody knows they're not going to make a Destiny dating sim, probably. But what happens is you get these teams inspired, and that from that it might inspire something in the story that they do for Valentine's Day, this thing that they had built that, right, it's meant to become that. It's literally like when you just start writing stuff and free think, and they don't get to do that normally.
Yeah, it's actually a way to make the games that you're playing better, because it allows people to just step outside of the box that they're normally having to think in and just go crazy and come up with whatever the hell they're going to come up with. So it's a morale event, and it's funny because like one of the articles that was talking about layoffs, and like they had to cut back on morale events at Bungie, and they're like, boo, that's bad. And they're like, well, now you're mad at a morale event. So I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I know. It's funny how the community, so like, they don't realize they become the hypocrites after trying to like tell everybody else that, you know, Bungie's a hypocrite.
This is why you should always delete your Twitter history. You just look better.
This is true.
Just
Smart
remember,
advice.
The loudest people on the internet usually do not know about the topic that they're talking about. Like there was a guy who didn't even know what a game jam meant, yet he was talking about it. You got people criticizing Suicide Squad and they never played it. So I
can do that. That's easy.
Exactly. It's the vocal majority.
They're so loud, but so dumb.
The silent minority is always the smartest, and we rarely get to hear from them. Usually, you know.
Well, you know what it is? Because I don't want to speak on something unless I feel like I have a decent amount of knowledge about the thing, because I don't want to look dumb.
But dummies have no problem.
Dummies don't care. They're like, this looks stupid because it's dumb.
You're like, great reasoning. Wait, why is it dumb? They're like, because it's dumb. Duh. And you're like, no, I need you to like explain to me with some context. And they're like,
moving on.
Yeah,
moving on.
They just start attacking.
Dumb thing, dummy.
Yep, exactly.
They're a dumb diddly, dummy.
Yeah, like I it's fun. Yeah, I don't want to segue to Suicide Squad yet, but I tweeted in context of this. I tweeted about it. I said, look, I got to finish the game. I got a lot to say, but I was like, here, how can I put it shortly? It's a cake. I like cake. It's delicious and sugary, as you would expect from Rocksteady Games. But what's up with like the sweet potato live service filling? And so the point being, and then I posted, here's the frosting, and it's this amazing cutscene with Harley, and there's many of them.
My cake.
But I'm not saying that because some people like sweet potato pie and other stuff. But the point being was that, meaning you give some reasons, hopefully, and that's just, you know, a metaphor analogy. But yeah, you got to actually give some reasons. If you're gonna,
you want to talk about Suicide Squad?
Yeah, talk about Suicide Squad.
I think we're pretty done. TLDR, I think Joe's probably tired and just wants to go chill. And I just hope that the only thing that I think they need,
to deal with.
The only thing that I think they need to address is having someone who will talk to us directly without the PR speech and just like talk to us gamer to gamer, because Joe was that to people and we kind of don't have that now. So as long as we can get someone to do that, I think that'd be great.
Yeah. But there was like a few more things in TWAB. Do you want to come back to it later, or?
We can hit the TWAB. What's up?
You know, might as well. Well, they brought up, importantly, I think the Fireteam Finder, just a quick update. I'll read it, is looking forward. First off, for the Fireteam Finder, we wanted to thank you for trying the new Fireteam Finder feature. We appreciate your patience and participation in the original raid stress test and the subsequent Fireteam Finder beta. We're humbled by the outpouring of positive feedback and suggestions. Keep them coming. Our focus in the coming months is to make the experience feel complete, both in and out of the game. To that end, we have some new updates coming. I don't know if they had said, because I haven't read the whole TWAB yet. There was a couple of things, but I don't think they say what that's going to be. But that's good news and just a good reminder about the Fireteam Finder.
Keep giving your feedback about it for sure.
Yeah. They did talk about how there's a companion app, game client update to I assume the Bungie app. I haven't read through this yet. but it has to do with the Fireteam Finder. In the future, players will be able to create and join Fireteam Finder lobbies from their mobile devices and from within the game. So like the in-game version, this initial release of Fireteam Finder on the Destiny 2 companion app will be part of the beta experience. So again, they're welcoming feedback there.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few in-game updates. They said they're working on some exciting in-game updates. We've already made significant strides in improving the Fireteam Finder feature with over 60 bug fixes and quality of life improvements presently in-game. Some highlights of these changes include an animated sheen when the lobby host has new pending applications, improved text chat channel color legibility, and improved performance when inspecting players through the Fireteam Finder applications. In the near future, be on the lookout for other improvements, including Fireteam Finder lobby voice chat, friend invites to Fireteam Finder lobbies, improved menu-to-menu flow, better feedback when you apply to lobbies. And last but not least, the roster will once again fit 12 Guardians on the nearby column. And all in, there are additional 70 bug fixes and quality of life improvements slated for the next 6 to 8 months, many of which come directly from community feedback. So I think they just wanted to share a little bit of the internal, here's what's going on with it. We are working on it. And here's sort of the results of you guys using it. I think they're very passionate to have more people use it. And we've been encouraging it on the show for a long time, if you're playing the game. And the activity I always say, give a shot, is the weekly Nightfall. Is Hero the second level above? The harder one that doesn't matchmake. I think it's Hero, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe it's Legend. I can't remember. But either way, do the one that doesn't let you matchmake normally. Do Fireteam Finder with it. And that's a good one because you get Boku rewards for that. So easy to hop in. Try it out.
Yeah, definitely for Nightfall stuff. Absolutely. Just get better rewards and it's like not going to be super difficult. So.
Yep. Yeah, and they shared again. It's funny because they shared some of this before. I'm like, am I in the right? Did I open too many tabs? They updated us on the top 3 activities. Dungeons, 32% in the Fireteam Finder. Strikes, 32%. Now that number came up, I'm pretty sure.
I think it did.
Yeah, and raids are 23%. So they gave a lot of like completion rate stuff, which is really interesting, and how long it took people to complete stuff. Raid performance via the Fireteam Finder, like take Root of Nightmares. They have a 44% completion rate, and it took them 60 minutes. I wonder how many people are doing it. That sounds good.
Yeah,
that wasn't what I experienced. Like I tried Deep Stone Crypt. This was earlier on. They have a 40% completion rate, and it took them 52 minutes. And I was like, well, that's not how it went for us at all. So I wonder, just if it's limited right now, so the numbers are really good because of the people using it. But either way, good to see.
Yeah. I'm glad it's in Destiny.
That was probably the most. I just saw Fireteam Finder was in there and wanted to throw that out there.
I think that's the biggest thing. The rest is just like there's some free emblems. They did their charity stream today, which I think went very well. Oh, yeah. And they had the collaboration that they just recently did. So you can get ornament sets inspired by Commander Shepard, Garrus Vakarian, and Dr. Liara Tassoni. Now, those are paid, the armor sets, but the Sparrow, the ship, and the Ghost are available to all players. So you can get the crossover with Mass Effect, the ship, the Sparrow, and the Ghost for free.
That's
so
cool.
I was glad to see that. I was like, okay, that's good. That's good stuff.
So I know we're all like,
fan. I like all that stuff.
We're excited because it looks amazing, but Briar, I know that that's not really how you feel. It's cool that you got to buy those dope armor sets in the Eververse. You saw me, you like that?
Free stuff away. That's cool.
The Sparrow and stuff. How do you feel about the armor being in the Eververse, Briar?
What do you want me to do, Fran? I've been talking about how I don't like the Eververse for so long that I'm sick of hearing myself.
That was it. I mean, couldn't have planned it better. But yeah, it's funny I had brought it before. I'm like, yeah, I don't think they have ever released anything in the game that doesn't fit the universe. You can make an argument that there's part of that. But like, this is where we would all be very happy if they had a reward for, completing whatever it is, certain Nightfall, and there's a small chance drop. People would be all over it. And here we are, it's probably $25 or whatever it is for the set, and it's like, man.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Very
I would
disappointing.
have actually liked, which might sound crazy, but I would have liked if they put the sparrow, the ghost, and the ship as like ritual rewards, so that I could get excited about it dropping instead of being like, I just get it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting. Try to.
I agree
yeah.
with you there, Watts. I think that's a good idea.
Because then it's nice to get new stuff to drop. Like, oh hey, look, I got the
So
new
long as the
ship.
grind's not too crazy. Yeah, I mean, they did just say free, right? I don't
Yeah,
know
you
like
just like
how you
claim
get
it.
them.
I think you just claim it.
Oh, it's just to get you in the store or something? Probably. I haven't looked, or I don't know if it's in there yet, but it's February 13th. Got it. We'll look at it then and decide. But yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. And we could always go off on it. And we did the last show, I think, but just it's the worst part of all these live service games is that the coolest, most awesome, cared for stuff in general tends to always be in the store. Always, always, always. Halo just had a new season, and I looked it over. I was all excited, and I'm still excited to check it out. But the stuff in the free event pass, it's not. It looks like whatever. Of course, stuff in the store looks dope. But
Was it
25,
Halo
35.
3 that had the armor that had the flame coming off the helmet, and the only way to get it was to kill in-game a Bungie dev? Is that right?
Probably.
Right, yeah.
How
I don't
cool
remember.
is that? Like, you get something like that in a game, and you're loving it, and you're wearing it all the time. You're just showing it off. You're like, look at what I got. Look what I got.
Well, you can for the small price of 2,500.
I'm just
credits.
saying, like...
Well, it's funny
No, I
because
mean, for
someone in
sure.
my community posted a picture of some armor from the recent Diablo, and they're like, "Look at this armor! It's so sick! It's $25."
25.
Yeah,
I'm
it
like,
is.
"It is very sick. Looks great."
Have you guys,
Yep.
I'm not going to talk about Tekken 8 yet, but have you guys seen some of the stuff that people are making in Tekken 8?
Yes.
No.
It is
Yes, I
insane.
have.
So there is you can design, you can clothe your Tekken 8 character in like, just, they have a amazing create like a outfit kind of thing. So it's stuff that you could bring online too. So like when you're fighting as Kazuya online, you can like have them dressed like Ryu, or you can have them dressed like, the options
Yeah.
are insane, and people are like coming up with the most creative stuff like they always do. Like, I love stuff like that. But
yeah.
even that, I mean, I'm sure is going to get tied to microtransactions.
Yeah, I was like, can you get it in the game, or is it yet another
But
like
still, it's like the
must
point of that
purchase?
game isn't to find stuff and make your character look cooler. The point of that game is to fight people online. So I find
Yeah,
it a
that's
little
the
more
thing that's
forgivable.
tough. Yeah.
Yeah.
When
But as long-
when your game is so heavily around obtaining things and it becoming a part of your character, having a microtransaction being a huge part of that is big.
Yeah.
It's like a kick
The
in
main
nuts.
thing is though that it just still can't feel like though what's in the game is not as good as what's in the store. That's the way I've been like highlighting it recently. It's less about that the store has it. It's that we want to entrust you, and we keep getting burnt. That fine, as long as there's plenty of stuff in the game, you can also fund your game and make this cool stuff and hire smart people. Like, it sounds really good on paper, but then I go and play the game like Diablo, and I'm like, what? This is like a Game of Thrones like king costume for my barbarian. This is amazing. And then I'm like in the game, I'm like, I don't know, this is weird like construct thing as part of the past, which is only $10. But it's not about that. It's about that's not nearly as good as that thing. I can't get it in the game, and it shouldn't be that for us. It should be there's all this additional stuff, but it never works that way, because as soon as you give them the slippery slope of making a bunch more money, and it's not that games aren't to make more money, right? But as soon as you open that store up, it just seems like we want the best artists, the best animators, the best licenses. Everything goes into the store, and it pisses me off.
We should move on. We have so much to talk
Yeah,
about.
we do.
That
We
I'm
do have so much to
excited
talk about.
about, and I don't want to just complain.
Okay, what do you want to talk
Bring
about
it
that you're
last
excited
time.
about?
Sorry.
Well, do we want to talk about something I'm excited about?
Yeah.
Instead of Suicide Squad. We can talk about Suicide Squad as well.
Stellar Blade, Watts. It's got to be, right? Is that?
I have so many
No?
things from the
Oh,
from
what
the
was your first
Sony,
thing?
from the PlayStation.
Oh,
that
okay.
was
I didn't
like
get to watch this, Watts. So
the
you're gonna
state
be
of play was the
filling me in.
greatest thing that's ever happened. And anyone complaining doesn't like good video games.
Wow. I
Yeah,
gotta
no,
watch
give
this.
us the thing.
So it started with Stellar Blade. That was the first thing that they showed of the state of play. This is a game that I've been waiting to hear more about for many years.
Is this a
And
futuristic, like Dark Souls, like a Souls like?
so the environment looks very Nier like, Nier Automata. The combat, to me, it looks Souls inspired because you've got things like when you rest, it resets the enemies. You've got limited heals. You've got all the things you'd expect, like the dodging and parrying from a Souls like, but it doesn't look like I wouldn't say that it's like Lies of P, right? Or Nioh, or I wouldn't say it's like any of those. So I think it's one of the games that we're kind of seeing a lot recently where they're not trying to be a Souls like, but they are taking a few things from Souls games. But it looked beautiful. Combat looks really, really fun. She's got like 20,000 outfits that they showed off in the video.
All of them very revealing.
They're great. They're perfect. And yeah, it looked awesome. I cannot wait for it. So I made a list of, we went through, took 4 hours on stream of games that I am gonna play this year, and we have a list of about 50.
Woo!
But there's a lot of games that I want to check out, but ones that have I put stars next to them are ones that I'm like 100% playing from like start to finish. I'm all about it. That's my jam. And Stellar Blade I had in there, it didn't have a release date, and I put next to it probably April or May. April 26th is the release date. April 26th for Stellar Blade.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Can't wait.
It's a ways out.
I cannot wait. Well, it's not allowed to be in March. I'm glad they listened.
Multiplied by an average asking price of, let's say, $55. That's $2,700 worth of games.
Hopefully that brings my taxes down a little bit.
That's right.
Exactly.
Write that shit off.
It's true. Get that tax bracket change, you know?
Maybe, hopefully, maybe. You never know.
All right, what else?
Yeah.
Stellar Blade?
So Stellar Blade looks fantastic.
It does look good.
After they showed a Sonic thing, but the thing that I was excited about that they showed was, well, after that they showed Dragon's Dogma. There was another Dragon's Dogma 2 trailer which was showing off a new vocation. And this vocation, I was sitting there, I was like, what are they showing off? But yeah, it's a new vocation, which is like a class that you choose. And it's the ability to wield all the weapons. So the idea behind this class, yeah, the idea behind this class is that your overall stats will be lower than someone. So if you're using a greatsword, your stats aren't going to be as good with the greatsword as someone who's like using the greatsword, and that's their
Jack
vocation.
of all trade, master of none.
Yeah, so the idea is that you're switching between the different weapons for the scenarios that you're in, and then if you're doing that properly, then it's really strong because they have in Dragon's Dogma, enemies have weak points and stuff, so maybe there'll be a weak point that you can reach with a ranged weapon. So you want to put on your ranged weapon, and then the thing that really sold me was he was using a bow, and then he switched to the greatsword and used I don't know what it's called in Dragon's Dogma. In Monster Hunter, it's called tackle. But when you get hit by an enemy, you use tackle and it kind of like stops the attack. And I was like, yeah, I do want to do that. I do want to have a bow, flip around, enemy comes at me. I, block the attack from the enemy. That sounds really fun.
Is there a little bit of Monster Hunter in the combat of this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
The foot, like so that the tackle move, I don't think they call it tackle in Dragon's Dogma, but it originally was in Dragon's Dogma Online, and then Monster Hunter took it for Greatsword, and then Dragon's Dogma 2 was like, we're also going to take that. So, yeah, there's a lot of, when you watch the combat, you're like, there's some Monster Hunter kind of animations and moves in here.
That's cool.
By Capcom, so it makes sense.
Looking pretty hot though.
Yeah. Oh my god! So IGN had the game. I would watch. I think it was the final preview where it's got actual gameplay of it that IGN did, because IGN had a first look and a kind of all that stuff with Dragon's Dogma 2.
And IGN, we all know that.
Hey now, don't be like the internet.
The internet recently
didn't even read the story.
Yeah, it's It's really exciting. So the thing that they're doing with Dragon's Dogma, and it was like this in the first, but it's going to be even more so in the second, where they want everything to feel very like you're escaping to a fantasy world and you're role playing. Like it is a role playing game.
I'm in.
So when you're traveling, you have to have like a camp kit if you want to actually rest out in the wild. But
Okay,
camp kits are
that's a
pretty
bit
heavy,
far.
so you have to think, do I want to put a camp kit in my stuff, or do I want to go out and adventure? And can I make it back to town before I do that? There is fast travel, but it's very limited, and there's so much hidden stuff. There's so many hidden things. So they really want you to get involved with the world. And the way that they do the pawn system, if you haven't played Dragon's Dogma before, a pawn is basically an ally AI that you make, and they come and fight along with you. And what you can do is you have one that you made, and then you have two others that join your team that are from online, someone else's pawns. So you're picking other people's pawns who they've made. And if your pawn, so say Briar, my pawn, we went on an adventure to the forest, and then you pick up my pawn who's been on an adventure in the forest, they'll say, oh, hey, I know where there's a quest in the forest. Want me to show you? And they'll take you to where this quest is in the forest because they have knowledge of it. Yeah, so they're doing it in a really like organic way of exploring and finding stuff.
That's kind of cool.
So I was
Did
like,
you guys play the first one? I never played it.
I dabbled.
Yeah.
But I was in, I think that was my peak. That was, 10 years ago? I think I was making YouTube stuff on Destiny or Call of Duty, so I had like no time.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would have probably like went hands-on with it briefly, but didn't really play it. But it's totally my type of game. Almost every game is my type of game. This is my problem.
So excited for Dragon's
Believe
Dogma.
it or not.
Well, good news. There's another game I'm excited about that's coming out on the same day as Dragon's Dogma, and that is Rise of the Ronin.
Oh, I
know.
Rise of the Ronin had an extended look as part of State of Play, and it very much so on the recent one looks like Nioh and Ghost of Tsushima. Like that's what that looks like to me. The combat, like there's a Chinese sword that you pick up where the combat looks a little bit more like Wolong, but speed wise it definitely looks more like Nioh, but there's parrying in this one, whereas Nioh had very limited parry. So there was one piece of combat that they showed, and I put it on Twitter. I spliced the combat parts together. And it's like a big hand dude with claws, and he's attacking. It's like parry, 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 parry. He jumped in the air. It is Vega. He jumped in the air, parried, grabbed him with the grapple hook, and I was like, oh boy, this is gonna be great. So the combat looks incredible. From what I could tell by breaking it down, there's two weapons. They showed two stances within the weapons. And there's 3 abilities per stance. And then there's also 2 offhand weapons that you can use. And that could either be, we saw like a throwing star or a gun. Because this takes place in the period where the West has brought guns to Japan.
I choose gun, please.
Blue Eye Samurai plug.
Yeah, it is it's set in the same kind of time period. Yeah. Same kind of period.
Yeah, it looks awesome. I mean, it's funny that I think I mentioned on the last show, and we often do. It's like, man, I was thinking about Ghost of Tsushima. I can't wait for the next one, but didn't quite expect like Rise of the Ronin. I have been very excited about, but I didn't expect it to be kind of, maybe overtly influenced by that. This is what Team Ninja does. Like, it's not like they don't already do this. But
this
it feels
is their
like
first open world game. So
yeah, it feels like the results of like that
world?
success.
It's their biggest game ever.
So it looks dope. I hope it has a Legends mode where we can play together. Live service.
Yeah.
This is the first time I'll say that, and the last time.
Yeah, I would take a live service Ghost of Tsushima Legends mode. I would have loved that. I was hoping for that.
Right? Even limited, like, man. Even though we wanted more, but you know what? It was fun while it lasted, and that's okay too.
It was.
Doesn't have to go on for 7 years.
Yeah.
This game does look super dope.
It does.
Watts, were you talking about the grapple thing when it's got one of your tools you can like pull people down from stuff? Is that what you're talking about or no?
Yeah. You can use the grapple to grapple buildings. You can also grapple two enemies. You can pull them down.
Yeah,
Like
he pulls
pretty.
them off a watchtower. I had the footage roll, and I was like, "That is really cool." It's like,
And then
then you just
stabs
like
them.
stab him. Oh, it's so cool.
So yeah, seeing him go from like parry, and then shoot in the face to interrupt them, so it looks like maybe you can do some kind of interruption, Bloodborne style with a gun. Yeah.
Got it
This
all.
game
It
looks
slices,
cool.
it dices, it shoots, it grapples.
It's gonna be a busy February? Is that right?
March 22nd.
March 22nd.
We're screwed. I mean, there's no. Like Watts is very organized to be making this list, but like, if you did you make a list like that last year or no?
I didn't. I just had a running
okay.
thing in my head of like,
Right.
these are the ones I definitely want to play. But this year, I do want to dabble with more games where it's like, I might just play this for a stream because I want to know what's up with it. I want to have experience about it so I can talk about it. And maybe it will be my thing and it will be like the best thing and I'll get addicted. Who knows? But yeah.
I wish you hadn't said that last part because I was like, it's the first part that I think about a lot. And it's so smart to just try stuff. You don't have to like go crazy. But because of that second part of being like, I really like this, I got totally invested. It's hard to control myself when I like a game, right? And that makes it really hard because there's so many good games. So I end up walking away like Hi-Fi Rush. That's what happened. I said, okay, I'm going to try it. Shadow dropped. Okay. Oh, this is pretty cool. But like we were busy with, Lightfall and there was like something else big around the time, but just was too busy. And I said, I'll get to it later. And it basically was slipping away. And I had to say, I'm going to do it. So I did it. But yeah, I mean, it was like 25, 30 hours. It wasn't a dabble.
See, you definitely like more games than I do. I think I have a very my thing is just action RPG.
Yeah.
If it's a Souls-like, I'm gonna really like it. If it's like a monster hunting kind of game, I'm gonna really like it. And outside of that, I'll probably just think it's okay.
Well, you're smarter than Frankie. Can't even say smarter. So I proved it.
I think those were the big ones for me from the state of play was getting a release date finally for Stellar Blade, getting extended look at Rise of Ronin, and Dragon's Dogma stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. The biggest thing from a popularity side, though, should we talk about?
Yeah.
Is probably, almost certainly, the Death Stranding 2 Ocean. That's probably...
Death Stranding 2. That was a long trailer, too. Super long. It was like 10 minutes.
Of course. Yeah, it's like this huge...
You've got hands being a mask, and there's a little puppet guy who is like 2 FPS, and then there's a dude with a guitar fighting a samurai guy.
Yeah,
and that's what I took from that.
Cool.
Oh, and there's a
Troy
baby.
Baker's character.
There's a real baby. Yes, that's Troy Baker.
Is the baby out of the bottle?
Baby's out of the bottle. There's a baby.
Took the baby out of the bottle.
There's a baby not in the jar.
Stylistically, it's so cool, and it's just such a good reminder for me where I was like, not only did Kojima leave, Konami and Metal Gear, but he took Yoji Shinkawa with him, who's the character art designer, etc. And you just see it so unlimited power. I felt like in the Death Stranding 2 trailer, like these crazy people getting to come together and get it even crazier. But yeah, like one of the things was, you mentioned a few of the things visually. One of them is this character has like their N95 mask, but it's like these actual like hands, and they're like kind of doing that, but it's a mask, and it's like they work.
It was,
and then it's got like this weird, like, I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of a Fran looking Dracula puppet type, like this dark haired, like scruffy looking like puppet from the 1920s or something. I think so. Anyway, I was like, next cosplay confirmed. I'm gonna be that guy. And he's hanging on like a little trinket, but he talks and he's got like a personality. I'm like, what is even the context of this? It's so weird. But then they had like Troy Baker's character, and no spoilers, but he's like back, and he's like this 80s pop band, like metal dude. He's got like the Twisted Sister makeup, I would say, if you get that reference. White Snake. Dude, it's wild, but you don't even get that part. You would never make that reference until he gets in a fight. Like somebody interrupts him, and he goes into a fight, and he busts out like a rock band style, like synth guitar almost, and he starts zapping the other enemy, like for real, like an actual fight, and he's zapping him, and he's like, and he's like soloing, and it's a fight, and then he like, and he takes off like it's an axe, and a guitar is called an axe as well. If you don't know, they call it your axe, and it is an axe, and then he comes at it with the axe, and I was like, it's so off the rails. I love this so much. I don't even know what's going on. The first game like had a lot of package delivery, which I liked the game and the vibe.
I loved the package delivery.
Yeah, I liked it. A lot of people didn't, but I was just like, it doesn't matter because of this, and that's why I'm gonna buy it and play it.
I want to build roads and deliver packages. I don't even want the rest of the game. I just want that part. That was great.
Oh yeah. By the way, big shout out to chat, Rolling Rock and Bourbon Ought. They were like, it's Joker Crow meets Alice Cooper, and I was like, you know what? It is that. All the above. You got to see it if you haven't seen it. It's so cool.
Coming out in 2025. 2025. But that wasn't it from Kojima. Kojima's like, well, now I'm also working on, and we're like, well, we know he announced a thing at the Game Awards that he's working on like a horror cinematic movie called OD, movie game. And this time he was like, well, this is a cinematic movie espionage game. And I'm like, espionage is not OD. And it's confirmed that he is working on this espionage game with PlayStation, OD game with Xbox, and Death Stranding in general. So
yeah, they did the and one more thing. Basically, I don't think they said that, but that's what this is. It's him, Kojima, Herman Hulst, who now you may remember was from Guerrilla, who came on to be the head of, the boss of PlayStation Games and Studios as a whole. And also, if you remember, Guerrilla had given Kojima Productions the Decima engine. So that whole thing ties together here, just background context. But they are just on the set talking to each other, and they're like, so, we've got this thing called Physint, or I don't know how you pronounce it. I've got to go back and listen to how they say it. Physint, one word, like physics, but INT at the end, Physint. But anyway, they're like, oh, there's one more thing, and they're like talking, and they just say it's action-espionage, but it's also a movie, and it's also, mixed media, which we kind of heard with the game Watts was mentioning, OD, which was like Jordan Peele was involved, and maybe that's going to be the evolution of PT horror, that goes on to have these. It's not a game, but it is a game, and it's a movie. Like, that's what he was saying. We're like, Kojima, you always say stuff like this. But then he said it again about what effectively is, I think my read is like, everybody thought 5 years ago or more, he would have announced the follow-up to Metal Gear Solid because he's gone and PlayStation wants to do a game. And then we were like, what is this package delivery baby game? And that's what we got. And I think everybody was shocked and was like, what's going on, But I think it's taken this long to get everything in place, everything lined up. And we're finally probably getting that. And that's what Physint is, I think. Action-Espionage game. And he even says, like, people have been asking me to make this game. So really, it's the next generation of Metal Gear Solid, probably. But it's not a game, and it's a movie, and it's all the other things that he says. But if I can finish by saying I went into full video. If some of you don't know, I was video producer for many, many years, and still am in some ways. But I like broke down what they did. They said one more thing. They said all this, and then he was like, stay tuned. And he looks off to the side in like super cheesy Kojima style. And the camera like snaps out and shows the set that they're interviewing on. I'm like, oh, wow, that's a really nice interview set. And then it goes, it starts picking up. It's a drone and it's pulling back. You see the entire lot. They're in a warehouse. It comes out the door. They're at Sony Studios lot. Sony Pictures, Columbia, Culver City. This is their headquarters. And he pans over to show we're at Columbia Pictures. And like that was the announcement of like, we've got the power of Sony behind. It isn't only a game, which is PlayStation, but it's also going to be kind of a movie. And he's trying to show we got the full power. And I thought that was very, it was just very telling of how important it is to like bring the medium forward, I think. It was a show off. But as a video producer, I just wanted to, I'm like, that is a really expensive set. I mean, granted, Sony's got those people, but that's like a really expensive shot for just like a couple minutes. But anyway, exciting. Super exciting.
It's exciting stuff. Yeah, I'm excited to see what's up with that. What's up with that? We did get a shadow drop of a little game. I think it takes people about 4 hours to complete. It is Silent Hill. It is just a new thing.
A new Silent Hill.
I think it's related to the new Silent Hill, kind of like how Resident Evil did their like one-off separate demo that kind of introduced you to the world. I haven't played it yet, but I do want to check it out.
Okay.
And yeah, they're like, it's for free and it's there right now. Go check it out. It's called what's it? Hidden Message? So it's called something like that. Short Message.
Yeah.
Short Message.
Circle of Destiny.
Message.
The great message. I forgot
The great
I was
message.
doing that. Briar, I'm going to start doing that all over again. Yes, it is Silent Hill, the great circle message.
Before we start shitting on Rockstar.
That won't happen for me. You mean Rocksteady, right? Yeah.
Rocksteady, sorry. I want to talk about a little game called Tekken 8.
Yes,
I'll be pretty
things.
brief. I've talked a lot about fighting games recently. I know not everybody's into them.
No, we need this from you, bro. This is like, we want to hear all you want to share on this.
This one is so fun. Tekken 8 is real good. I want to just say, like, even if you are like not an online, like, I'm not going to go online and get into ranked matches and stuff like that. I just want to play, like, maybe a friend comes over, maybe not, but I'll just play like the story mode and like see the single player stuff. There is so much single player stuff in this game. It's insane. They have the story mode that everybody's talking about. Did you guys see that Brian Cox, like, the story so far?
No, but you described the opening cutscene or a trailer thing to me, remember? And I was like, all right, I'm in. That was amazing.
The story's great. It goes crazy. The end of it is, just pure Tekken. If you're used to people getting thrown off of cliffs, you're not going to be disappointed here. Like, it's just that. It's got that vibe. And then I think that's about 4 hours. And then for each individual character, which I think there's like 27 or something characters in the game.
There's a lot of characters.
They each have their own like story mode, which has, just like a brief cutscene opening, 5 fights, and then a brief cutscene closing, just so you get a little bit of story for every character in Tekken. Then they got this arcade quest thing where you set up like a little custom avatar, which is similar to like your Xbox Live avatar. They don't do that anymore, do they?
Mine still shows the old one.
Yeah,
so I know it exists somewhere. Yeah,
kind of like a me. You design one of those, and then it's like this like Pokemon-esque quest where you go from arcade to arcade, and like you beat like all the other players in the arcade, but they're all CPU controlled, right? It's just like you like going on this quest to become like the best Tekken player in the world, but it's teaching you how to play Tekken this whole time through like kind of, I would say, subtly done tutorials. There's some stuff that's like, here's the rage system. You just got to learn how. We're going to tell you how to use this. Here it is. But there's some stuff was like, oh, this guy is, he's weak to this move, so you want to use this move on him. And like, it just kind of teaches you like kind of strategies of Tekken. Also, if you're new to fighting games or Tekken, there's also this kind of, I think they call it special mode, where it's very much you just like slam on the triangle button and your character does the cool combos. You slam on the square button and he does different combos. You don't have to learn like the intricate, like, 30 button press, like maneuver, you moving the joystick, double tapping,
follow up to like what they did in Street Fighter was doing it with their system, but even sounds easier than that.
It doesn't. Yeah, it feels easier than the Street Fighter one, but not maybe as in depth. Like, I can't. People use that in competitive Street Fighter. Their modern controls.
That's
right. I wouldn't imagine that's going to happen in Tekken, but maybe. What do I know? But there's just so much. Like, there's a new Tekken ball where you're basically playing like volleyball.
Tekken ball.
Yeah, you're playing like volleyball with the Tekken characters
DOA?
by like. Not that good. You're like basically like you're punching the ball to like play volleyball. It's something like that. There's just so much, and the game is so pretty. It's so gorgeous. It's one of the.
It is very good looking.
I don't understand why like media companies, like all video game companies, aren't just like screaming at YouTube and Twitch to fix their 4K processing, because you do not get a accurate representation. You can watch a 4K trailer on YouTube of Tekken 8, but once you have it playing on your TV at home, it's just gorgeous. Like, it is insane how good this game looks. It's just the fidelity of it, the smoothness of the action, just, you know, just in the middle of a fight, the way they do this, like, kind of like they have this like heavy impact with like you're punching a guy in the jaw and it just like slows down. It goes, the sound slows down, whoa, and the sparks are coming
That's in the
off,
middle
and
of
then
the fight?
it speeds right back up, and you get back going. The combat feels great. There's like new ways to get introduced to the game. I feel like it's a great time to jump into Tekken.
Which platform did you feel like these visuals were so awesome on?
I bought the PlayStation 5 version, and I've heard the PC version looks even better.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was fishing for. Is like really good to hear that just on console. And you often see that with fighters, like they're able to put every polygon, all the detail into just a couple fighters and some of the background, but most of it's in the fighters and the effects, and like it pays in such dividends, you know. And I didn't really, it's because like in other words, you remember, Briar, we were talking about, like, you used to have to go back, like, Soul Calibur days, like, other than that game and a couple, nothing looked that good because it was only focused on the two fighters and mostly that. And you're like, they look so good. And now we've gotten a little used to it. But in other words, to hear you kind of gushing about how much visual pop it has is really nice to hear, because insane. I still look to see that in fighting games, just like endless particles and effects and stuff like that on top of really nicely rendered characters.
I'm really looking forward to like kind of like this next generation of video games, kind of like finally utilizing the power of the newer consoles and newer graphics cards. Like it's really exciting because I feel like just the last 6 months we're really starting to see some games come out that really push the limits. It looks awesome. What is going on?
Sorry, my bad. Sorry, I clicked on something in our Discord. I was as confused as you. Sorry.
Yeah, Tekken 8, awesome. I'm really having a good time with it. I'm probably I really want to play the new Like a Dragon game, but I'm just, I got the Korean lever fighting stick.
Oh, nice.
And I'm just sitting here and just playing some good ass Tekken, and I'm enjoying the shit out of it.
Isn't it great when you're just playing a game and you're like, I am so happy, game, happy time.
Yeah, the only thing that's like really keeping me from being happy is that I want to get back to Street Fighter 6 too. Like, I'm like torn. I got these two great games that I want to be playing. It's a good.
It'll last for such a long time. It's a really nice problem to have.
All right, guys.
Is it time?
It's time. Let's hear it.
It's time.
What's going on?
You're building it up so much. Squad? I want to hear from Watts.
I'm at about 8 hours. I'm at about 8 hours. So I've played about 8 hours. I did the first day with Deadshot. Second day I did Shark all day. And when it comes to me talking about this game, because people are like, is it worth it? Do you think I should check it out? What do you think? Hey, what's going on? How you feeling? The traversal and the combat of the characters is a lot of fun. Like, I've had a lot of fun jumping around, flying around, all that stuff. And
Anthem fun?
It doesn't feel like Anthem.
No.
But
not as good.
No. Even as Deadshot, it doesn't quite feel like Anthem. But the traversal is really good. Like, the traversal and movement and stuff is really well done. And I think that the writing, it's made me laugh multiple times. I think that the mocap is like some of the best we've seen with the way the faces look. Like, it's really, really good. But then there's this thing of, where does the live service come in, right? Like, if I'm just judging this as a single player story game, I'm like, if you're a fan of Suicide Squad, I think you'd probably have a lot of fun with this game. But as you're playing through, the enemy variety there's not a ton of enemy variety. It's just not really there. Encounter variety is also not really there. Like, you'll have side missions that ask you to do the same thing as a kind of main story mission. So I'm like, if I'm already feeling some repetitiveness in the enemies that you're using or the encounters you're using, and this is supposed to be a live service game and keep me hooked for, hundreds of hours, I don't really see where the live service even comes in. I just don't see it.
Yeah, like on that front, it's like I haven't beaten it yet, so I'm waiting. I can't really speak to the live service side because I'm not playing it that way. But I have an idea, but
yeah, I haven't finished it, so I can't see the live service part until you're like post story. But yeah, in terms of just like having fun with a video game, I've certainly had fun with the video game. Would I say that you should pick it up right now and it's awesome? I'd say you could probably wait for a sale if you're interested in the game. We don't have season 1 coming out for the game until March, so you've got like easily a month before new season stuff comes in. I don't think the campaign is particularly long, so I don't think there's any rush to jump in. If you're a fan of Suicide Squad, it's definitely worth looking at, and if you think the traversal looks fun, most likely you will enjoy it because I do think it is fun. But yeah. It's one of those games where it's like, oh, I've had fun playing the game, but I definitely cannot see myself being like addicted to it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I don't know where to start because there's a lot to say, but I do really want to caveat like I'm, as I often do, playing very methodically. I have it on like the really difficult modes, and sometimes you fail some things, and like, but I like to play games that way because it always gets me thinking about like how to adjust and like really diving into the gameplay. But I'm getting very late into it. I suspect I'm about 75% through it. But that also means like, yeah, I don't know how it opens up to the end game. I don't know what the end game is. I know we have a season coming in, I think, March. They'll release a Joker, is part of that. And again, canon-wise, it's not a spoiler because like they're doing, if you actually know the Batman Arkham Knight stuff, like this is a sequel to that in some ways. But it's called Elseworlds, what they're doing. Yeah, this is legitimately a sequel. It's a story sequel, and it's events happening after, it's the Rocksteady canon, and I think that's one of its strongest parts, but that's why I think also why people are like, but why didn't you just make that game? But anyway, because I don't know the answer to all that, I think it's really important to caveat when you're judging a game and reviewing it. Of course, you can give those impressions and give your early thoughts, but like we need to see the rest, or I need to see the rest to feel good about what that means. That being said, I agree with Watts that how do I start this? It's a good game, but because it so clearly wants to be a live service game, they designed this, the main core gameplay combat, which is everything you see and I think judge it on, is so like obviously it's like, okay, you're like zipping all over the place and shooting like a horde of enemies that like spawn out of nowhere, and you got to like capture the flag, so to speak. And it's got that whole like Destiny public event, but multiple versions of that across this huge world of Metropolis as the core gameplay loop, and you're getting some loot along the way. But that, like, at first you're like, here's what happens that I suspect is why it's going to frustrate a lot of people, but the people that get into it are going to like Watts started to enjoy it. It sounds like what happens, I thought, is that you start, you're like, man, I'm like falling all over the place. Like I'm falling off the buildings. Like I'm having trouble getting used to the traversal, and I'm shooting, and like it felt clunky, quite frankly, at first. And I was like, I don't know about this, like, but I'm like, I suck. And I kept actually saying on stream, I'm like, I just suck. I suck. And like, not in a truly self-deprecating way, but like, I had that feeling. And then first day, streamed a bunch, got some rest, came back to it, got on PC, and designed like all this custom binds on my mouse and like exactly how I knew I wanted to do it, which really helped me adapt. And then I got good. All of a sudden I was like, ooh. And then I was very rewarded. And I felt like, honestly, they put a lot of thought into each character's traversal and combat for what's there. And I do feel the reward. I felt actually kind of that initial like pull of like, ooh, I want to get into this fight because I want to show off. But where I'm at with it is like, yeah, it's very like you keep getting into these fights and it's like different versions of it, and they'll even gate certain things. So in other words, imagine fighting on rooftops, there's a turret, and it's like you got to defeat the enemies before you can shoot the turret. But now there's a version of that where you can only defeat them with fire grenades until that's the only way to kill them. And like they do stuff like this to, extend these moments. It's really meant to be played co-op as well, and I'm playing solo. And I also suspect if you kind of take a chiller approach, and play it co-op, you might really enjoy swinging all over the place doing this stuff. So anyway, at its core, I'm sort of suspect about how much I want to play those fights and that, but I actually was really impressed by the feel of the traversal once I got good, is the point. And you got to get over that, or I think you're not going to like it. As a live service, though, I don't know what to tell you right now. Like, I can imagine what they're going to do is something, with the ending that drops you back off in Metropolis. Arkham Knight did a little of this, so this is not outside their DNA, where they drop you off in a world that is torn. And actually, we know there's these things called Elseworlds, which is maybe that's where the other seasons take place. I don't know. I didn't want to know to taint my view, but I think it's just going to drop you back off, and you're just going to be flying all over, looking for matchmaking, getting drops, and doing some builds. But a lot of these fights are going to be what I said. And then I'm like, but then that story piece is gone. And that is the number one reason that if you're going to power through and you're a fan of Rocksteady and you're like, I don't know that gameplay core loop sounds for me, just walking around like Wayne Bank and the cutscenes, the quality of like on the shoulder, close up, facial animations, the actors, the voice acting, it is really, really good. I really enjoy it. Now, I don't know how that pans out as like the full story, but like it's gruesome too. Flash is a total asshat. Like he's gruesomely killing people. Like it's crazy because you're the villain, and all these like superheroes like Batman and all this stuff are gruesome. And there's a lot of the DC characters. And I personally, as someone who's not a DC expert, had me laughing, had me smiling. The performances and the Rocksteady, I would say, just their stamp of approval on like, we are good at this stuff. We're good at directing, the facial animation, the actor selection. All of it is amazing to see, and I wouldn't miss it. I don't regret it. And yeah, it's worth it. I never really look at a game, and I don't want to wait, and judge it based on like the sale price, so to speak. And I know why, of course, you do that. But yeah, for me, it's just worth playing for that reason is the point, whenever you decide to do it. But because of the core gameplay loop, it has me questioning. So the last thing I would just note in there real fast is the boss fights, though. That's the type of stuff I enjoy, is more that one-on-one big enemy. And I've only fought, a handful. But the point is I see a little more potential in stuff like that, like a strike. And I don't know if it has that. Like Anthem even had strikes, if you will. And that was my favorite thing. In Anthem, for example, there was the Hive Tyrant strike, I'll call it. I forget what they called them. Expeditions or something. But really enjoyed it. Like you zip through sort of linearly, right? You get to the bosses and the boss at the end, and it was like a lot of fun to play co-op and matchmake. I don't know that game even has this or anything like it. So we'll see.
Maybe we need to get Paul on the show soon, because he's like today just jumped into Endgame and he's trying to see like what's up with Endgame and try and figure it out. So
yeah,
get him on.
I'll be there next week.
Suicide Squad Endgame discussion.
But yeah, do you guys? I don't know how to put it. Like, do you buy it? In other words, this is one of those games that I think people look at it and they say it's a live service game and therefore it's a failure. They're just trying to make money on the battle passes and you know what I mean? Like, they don't believe that it could be any good.
I don't think that a live service game can't exist successfully. I think it's extremely hard. I think, like, just because it's a live service doesn't mean it can't be a good game.
Yeah, but like, did you ever get into the Batman games, Briar, or not really?
I did. I really enjoyed,
yeah.
I think the first two. I don't think I ever got around to the first three, but I heard it was fantastic.
Gotcha, yeah. But yeah, that's the problem.
I like Rocksteady. I love that combat.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Right. And therein lies the problem. It's like people knew what they wanted. They didn't do it for the core gameplay. They gave them like guns as well. And it's sort of like it breaks the whole tradition. But that's why I was trying to point out, like, the DNA of Rocksteady is very alive in this game. But a lot of it is in the world building, the cutscenes, and all this other stuff. And then, like, at the very least, like, put it on easy and I'd say go through the core gameplay, because there's so much good stuff on the other side, at least. Again, whether or not that's worth $70 to you is up to you. Yeah. But to that end, it's good. And it's not like, the fighting and the traversal, as Watts said. She's like, yeah, it's kind of fun. I see that for some people, but I think some people are going to get very frustrated fast and drop off.
Do you think just as like a one-time story run through as a Arkham fan, like, is it worth going through?
Yeah, and here's why I say it with confidence. As someone who's not informed, I think it's very good of that. And what I mean by that is like, dude, I'm not a comic book nerd. I wish I was. I wish I was a lore expert of any kind, and I'm just not. So I've enjoyed the Batman games. I love the cartoons. This has been a huge flip. You go from Dark Knight, literally this dark, grim world look, to suddenly this super vibrant, it's the other side of these vibrant villains. It's such a weird thing, but you do have like now gruesome superheroes, but you're in Metropolis is the point. We didn't get, at least right now, like this huge Arkham realized in this new generation. And in other words, I only know so much about the story, but it really put a smile on my face. I know nothing about the chemistry between like, Harley and Boomerang, and then Boomerang and like the Flash. There's all this chemistry I don't know anything about, but the writing and everything I thought was excellent. I think it's
I
the
do
other
think the
side.
writing's been good. Yeah.
I asked some fans, and like again, I don't want to misspeak to it. It's like I'm worried that the fans who are super into the lore might be like, I don't know. But what I will say is, even as an outward fan, I noticed how much they literally had people on the team they had to have who question every story moment, and they put stuff in the game and in-game dialogue at your side of like they're constantly questioning like why would they do that, and then they put in lines and stuff to address it. It's really interesting. So it sort of like makes sense to a point. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it's not even like my type of game, but it's a game that I can definitely be in and have fun when I'm playing it. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have come back for day 2. I wouldn't have keep going. I wouldn't have 8 hours in it. So I've definitely had fun there. I don't, is the campaign if you're a DC fan or Suicide Squad fan, is the campaign too short to warrant you paying X amount of money for it if you're not interested in the live service at all? I don't know.
Yeah, and that's why I would just say as a game itself, there's tons of content. It's really more of a choice of how much you want to pay for a game, and it's a personal choice. I would actually remove the live service side. Like I already, to me, but I'm very, as you know, like I'm like, dude, I just like this game. Like you can't really put a price on that. I mean, you can, and I really don't have the money to do it. But my point is, I stay away from like, is this game worth $70?
Yeah.
Because is it good? It's like when you go to the movie, I can't tell you like how much you like that $25 movie ticket. I mean, you see what I'm saying? Like it's very personal to people. So in any event, I don't, it's not like, in other words, we see people release games sometimes and you're like, this is a ripoff. But there's so many of these games in the middle, those 7s, those 6s even, the 8s even, and you're like, well, yeah, it's worth it, but I might wait because I personally don't need to hop into it right away. So
yeah.
But it's really a payoff, I think, of experiencing the story and everything. But you might not be into the core gameplay loop, which is a real hurdle to get over. And I kind of wonder if you just like put it on the easiest mode, if like maybe it's just washes over you and you just enjoy the story. I don't know.
Before we do like Twitter questions or anything, I do want to talk about a demo that I played today. Ooh. And this is Tales of Kenzera Zhao, which is the game that is by someone who you may know if you've played Assassin's Creed Origins. This was announced at the Game Awards. Yes, that's what it's called, the Game Awards, where Abu Bakar came on stage himself and introduced his game, and then we got the trailer right after that. So
Tales of Kenzera?
Kenzera.
Yes.
Oh.
So this is a game that he wanted to make because he loves games, and he wanted to do something that kind of told his dad's story and also kind of went through what it's like losing a parent and the grief that comes with that and getting over that grief. So the actual game itself is a Metroidvania style game. It feels very Ori inspired when I looked at it, and they did mention Ori and the Blind Forest as an inspiration for the game. Just the visuals is like very beautiful. It's a very, very beautiful game. And the fluidity of when you get thrown into a situation where you're like, oh, I got to use all my tools to get out of this. Ori does a really good job of throwing you into stressful situations and you're like, the whole time, but you managed to deal with it somehow.
Eventually, maybe you managed to do it.
I get those kind of vibes from playing this demo. It's pretty short, but the demo came out today, which is a little bit earlier than Steam Next Fest because Steam Next Fest is on the 5th. So they dropped it a little bit early. You can check it out right now. And yeah, I think this is going to be pretty awesome. It's $17.99, $18.
Oh.
And you get a game where the combat feels really good. The visuals and the music is so good. And I'm really excited to experience this. The combat is you're using two different masks. And you're using a moon mask and a sun mask. The moon mask is all like long range crowd control stuff. And then the sun mask is close range melee combat. So it's I think it's gonna be really good. I think it's gonna be very good Metroidvania.
How was at the Game Awards? It definitely fell off my radar, so thanks for mentioning.
It was at the Game Awards.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
A demo. Yeah, it's EA Originals too. I know.
Yeah, he went and took his concept of a game to a bunch of studios, and I think EA Originals pretty quickly was like, yeah, let's do it. So this is their first ever game that they've made. It's a brand new studio, with Abu Bakr behind the story of it.
I'm probably gonna skip this demo just because I'm still playing Prince of Persia.
Mm-hmm.
But you're gonna say Pikmin.
I definitely just added this to my wish list, and I'm looking forward to when it releases because this game looks great.
Check out the demo if you can. Anyone who's listening, it's pretty short. You can fit it into your time pretty quickly. Yeah. You can. It's like an hour maybe.
Yeah.
So.
Plus, it's just a demo. You can't keep playing if you want. Probably that's what I need, Watts, are the demos. And I should play. You're right. I should play the demo because then even if I like it, I'm like, well, I'll put it on the list.
But we played the demo. Yeah.
Forces me to stop,
You should. So the game that there's a game I'm going to check out soon that I don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm excited to play it and tell you about it. So we'll see.
Nice. Well, yeah. And I mentioned EA Originals because it is important that by the way, they did It Takes Two and I think Mortals of Avium was under there as well. But it's not like EA is not trying to mini companies. It's easy to give them flack as a whole of man, that company doesn't make great games. And it's actually the EA original programs did It Takes Two and this game looks really good. But you have to get out there and support this stuff if it's good. It's something I talk about a lot. And maybe, I don't know how much it's going to cost. Did we say, but I worry.
$18.
How much?
18.
Wow. Sounds like a steal. See, again, I'm the type of person that assuming it's good, right? It looks really nice. You're right. It kind of has that Ori look. I just peeped it when you mentioned it. And it's man, if I get 3 hours out of that for $18, I'm definitely, that's where I'm coming from. Support a great game. It was awesome. I don't need it to be 25 hours of grinding for $40. And so that's my point. I want more of that.
Yeah, I have no idea how long it's going to be, but I'm so excited to see the different biomes and what they look like and sound like because they've worked with South African artists. The music is so good. It's very African inspired music. It's very, very good. Environments are great. And all of the biomes are kind of modeled after or supposed to give you a feeling of different parts of grief. Going through the grief process of losing a loved one. So
nice.
I look forward to seeing what they're like.
Yeah, it's going to be on Nintendo Switch, I presume.
Oh, really?
Steam Deck compatibility, but yeah, I just was looking. It's on all the major platforms, April 24th, including Nintendo Switch, which are okay.
There you go.
This is what I like about indie games right now is that you just get you get so many art styles from such different backgrounds and places around the world. It's
yes,
it feels like for so long in video games you just got you get standard sci-fi, you got kind of standard swords and dragons.
You got Norse and Greek and maybe it's just,
it just feels like there's such a wide variety now of just all sorts. What was the one where we were talking to our vaginas?
I knew you were gonna mention it, but not like that.
What was that one time where we talked to our vaginas?
What was that game? I forgot the name of it. I bought it.
I don't know that you talk to your vagina. Your vagina talks to you.
Oh, my
It's a robot vagina.
My bad.
All right, try to pay attention and get your facts straight. No, Cookie Cutter. And again, full disclosure, that publisher, they didn't make the game, but some friends of mine work there. But But I don't know if you had a chance to check it out.
I did. I played Cookie Cutter. I liked it.
Oh,
I
I actually never heard the follow-up. You thought it was cool?
Yeah, I thought it was real cool.
Good. I
What's
needed
not
some
cool
like
about talking vaginas, you know what I'm saying?
I just was picturing the Accolades trailer, and it was like Cookie Cutter has sold 1 million. It probably hasn't, but and it comes up with Briar's quote right there. What's not cool about talking vaginas? The Briar
That
rabbit.
would definitely get included too. That absolutely would.
I might have to. I'll tell my friends. Maybe they'll make an Accolade trailer and it includes you, Briar. But yeah, I'm glad to hear you like it. Meaning, I never got a read on like if I was right at all about that one for you and others. But yeah, it's cool Metroidvania as well.
But I was saying recently, you bring up having stories from all these different places. I brought up that, I see a lot of Norse and Greek and Japan and even China's like not used that much in video games. And there's so many cool mythologies and stories and stuff that I would love to know about. And with my main medium being games, I would love to see Thai mythology, various different places in African mythology, and get to know more about that stuff and the music and the environments through games. Because there's so many cool things.
For probably a year or two now, I've been watching a ton of South Korean movies. Yeah. Because they're just fucking out there killing it. Like they're making like amazing movies over there. Like all sorts of like great action movies and like kind of what you would consider like kung fu movies, and like they'll have like pirates versus ninjas for like just an entire movie, like just all sorts of like crazy but really well done stuff. And man, like I'm with you, there's just so much cool shit out there. Why does everything have to be like knights and fucking dragons all the time?
Yeah, and I mean it's funny, it's been on my mind as much as I love it. It's like everything is turning into like superhero games because they sell so well, and like it sucks that I'm as excited as everybody else, and so I'm gonna buy it. But I mentioned it about Dead Space. It's like we live in a world where people don't really want Dead Space remake, which was awesome. It sold several million copies or whatever, like Callisto, and I love that genre, right? Event Horizon meets video game, Metroid-esque horror. But then they move on and they're gonna go do the next Iron Man game, and I'm like, ooh, that's gonna be good with the suit. And then I'm like, but is every game going to be a Marvel DC universe? Like that's the world we live in, unfortunately. So yeah, going back to these EA originals and other stuff like this, that's where it's nice to get that variety.
That's why I like that program so much. Like the EA Originals program really is just about finding a really cool thing that they think is cool, and they put money behind it and helping people make it. Like I love that that's a thing that exists, because I mean we saw with the Riot layoffs recently, they've been doing Riot Forge, which is they work with an indie developer to put out this, single player game, and they're closing that part. So
yeah, apparently Embracer. So I was just listening to a podcast today while I was working outside. It was the Nextlander podcast. Are you guys familiar with that podcast?
No,
I haven't listened.
They had Will Smith on, who is a game developer. And he makes not the actor.
No, but there's another Will Smith who's like Twitch streamer and content creator. I forget what else he does, but red hair, not that guy.
Yeah, red hair. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know he's with a game developer. Maybe I miss.
So anyway, he was talking about he just got their game got canceled. He worked on it for 3 years. The game got canceled, and he kind of went into a little bit about how obviously there's been like massive layoffs across the industry. And one of the problems is that it's very hard to get indie games greenlit right now. It's hard to get money to make a indie game, because one of the reasons is Embracer Group bought so many of the publishers and the developers who would have made those games, who would have financed those games. And then, we heard about that Saudi deal that didn't go through, like $2 billion or whatever.
Saudi
and now
billions.
They're just like closing those studios down. They're closing those publishers down. So it's like all of a sudden it's like, we've been really kind of in this like panacea of amazing indie games that have been getting funded and released, and like that could really be slowing down very soon here.
Somebody
sad.
Briar all of a sudden busts out Panacea. I'm like, wow, that he pretends. Look at this guy. Took me a second. Wait.
That's really sad.
You're right, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
very
an
sad.
interesting podcast. If everybody hasn't seen that,
I'm gonna have to
or
listen to
listened
that.
Next Lander podcast. Those guys are really good. They're ex-Giant Bomb guys. They left Giant Bomb, made their own podcast.
Yeah, I didn't realize he was doing a game as well. It was funny because I knew him first as like via Twitch, and just like in the general realm, and like we've even co-rated, talked to each other. But anyway, that's a bummer to hear. But yeah, the importance of supporting indies so we see more indies. It's hard. I mean, everybody's been saying it since the beginning of time, but that's why I do always appreciate when especially Watts is highlighting these really good ones.
Yeah.
Well,
Watts
say if wish list games.
Yeah, Watts is responsible for 9/10 of my wish list on Steam.
But like,
Okay, you want to see a game? Look up Ultros. ULTROS. They have a demo coming for Steam Next Fest, and I may have to partake in extracurricular activities to play that game.
Oh yeah, I see what
while
you
I
mean.
play that game.
A psychedelic Metroidvania where you wake up stranded on the sarcophagus.
Was
And
this Game Awards?
psychedelic is not lying.
Wait.
They're not lying.
This
The
was at the Game Awards,
sarcophagus.
right?
I think so.
Yeah,
The-
I've seen this
think it
before. This
was.
is awesome.
I just have to finish the sentence. The sarcophagus, a cosmic uterus holding an ancient demonic being.
Yeah, but
Cosmic
does the uterus
vaginas.
talk, because at this point, I want my anatomy to talk to me.
Vaginas are popping off at the moment.
They're I feel like
It's a
they've been
new
popping
wave.
off a while. You know, we're getting. It's important. that we're
Vaginas
highlighting them.
old-
pretty
Oldest
popular,
pop-up.
turns out.
Pretty popular. Very popular
Another-
these days.
Another banger accolade quote from Briar. That actually reminds me for another mention here. I don't know if the game's out yet. Xeno Tilt with an X. It's like pinball. This might interest you, Briar.
Oh, is this
Called
a
Xenotilt.
like follow up to like Devil's Tilt and like those Crush? I mean Devil's Crush and Xeno Crush?
Develop. No. Oh wait, it's follow up to Demon's Tilt. Yeah, you know what this
Okay,
is?
yeah.
Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's
I didn't know that it was a follow up.
spiritual successors to the Crush games for TurboGrafx, right?
Well, I didn't know that either. But you're right. You said Demon's Tilt, I think, but that is, if you did say that, that was the first game.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
any event, this super cool looking pinball machine from space, but it's like, it's a game, so tons of levers and the pinball's flying everywhere. But I got to try it at the Day of the Devs, which by the way just went full nonprofit. They had an announcement about this, so go support Day of the Devs as well.
Cool.
But yeah, it's in early access, Xenotilt with an X, but it's really cool. But the thing I appreciated about it the most, one of my friends from chat was asking questions, and I didn't think of it because I was too dumb. It's a pinball game. Is like, does this support vertical monitors? They're like, oh yeah, you can support, I think, multiple vertical monitors have this huge like pinball setup. And it's a totally crazy looking kind of pinball game. So anyway, there's all this really good stuff out there worth a mention. I think it's in early access. I don't think I ever brought it up before.
Yeah, Demon's Tilt is out now, and there's a physical copy that I just am ordering now.
Well,
So thank you for
Xenotilt.
reminding me.
Wait, Demon's Tilt came out, I guess, in 2019, if that's what you're referencing.
Yeah, and I
But yeah,
I already
this
put
is-
Xenotilt on my Steam wish list.
Oh, but it's in early access. You can play it. I don't know how much is in it, but it's $15. I imagine it's most of the game right now. So it's not like it's a minor thing. It's been out since I think last August. It says so. There you go. Anyway, wow.
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 Next week, I'll be able to tell you guys about Grand Blue Fantasy Relink because I just
thank
started
you.
that today.
Is
started
that's the
today.
fighting game or is that the
That's the RPG.
RPG? Okay. 'cause
And I
there's
was
a
like,
Grand
wasn't-
Blue.
There's an
Fighting
anime,
game.
there's a mobile game, there's a fighting game, there's many games. And I knew about this game, but I was like, yeah, I don't know, maybe. But then the more I watched people who are like Monster Hunter, Souls games, and they kept talking about it, and I'm like, the more they said, I'm like, that sounds like Monster Hunter. And I was like, that also sounds similar to Monster Hunter. So it seems to have quite a few things that it shares with Monster Hunter. It's not the same, it's very anime. But I'm excited. I'm excited to play it. I only got into it for like an hour today.
Yeah, nice.
Cool.
Whoop.
Look forward to hearing it.
should have a good
the
amount of
fighting
hours.
game has always appealed to me because it looks amazing.
It does look good. Yeah, the visuals are great.
But I never, there's only so much time in the day. I just can't play everything.
Right? I'm just going to use the bathroom. I know we probably got Twitter questions, but I'll be listening.
Right. We'll ask the ones about you first. That way we can answer honestly.
For March 22nd, I'm like, so if I stream for 12 hours, I could do 6 hours of Dragon's Dogma, 6 hours of Rise of Ronin. That's a good amount of time to get into a game.
You're
and
planning on doing Dragon's Dogma, huh?
For a long time.
Yeah.
I have until April 26th when Stellar Blade comes out to finish both of them.
Okay. Yeah. You can
a little over a month.
You could do it.
12 hours a day, every day.
Just cut out like extraneous things like sleep and eating. Things you don't need to do strictly.
I was like, I don't need to socialize, or like I can just get up, stream, and eat, go to bed.
What are you talking
about? Do it again.
Is you skip out the going to bed and waking up part. Think about how much.
Well, then
more
I could
time
do
you
longer hours. I could do longer hours.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I'm sure,
but I can't pick one. I can't pick one. I can't be like, I'm just gonna play Rise of Ronin, then I'll get to. I can't do it. I got to do both.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for both of them.
It is tough when you're excited for two games at the same time to pick which one you're gonna play first.
Yeah, I'm like really excited for both of them. So.
Yeah.
Before Fran gets here, we can just do a note of games that are coming out soon.
Okay.
That I did add to my list. So Helldivers 2 is February 8th. I do want to check out Helldivers. It's like a co-op game where you shoot things. Could be fun.
Yeah, the first game was fun. I played like a demo.
It looks like a game that's just
get into it.
It's just gonna be fun. I'm hoping we can play with Mylan or something. That would be a good time. Banishers of Ghosts of New Eden is February 13th. This is a new IP. But this one looks like up my alley, and as long as the combat is good, I will be playing it all the way through. So Banishers Ghosts of New Eden is probably the next one that I'm like, I could get really into this one before Final Fantasy comes out.
We got a few important questions here on Twitter, so I'm just going to bust into it. Maligan9, do you guys microwave your tortillas?
Sometimes. I prefer the pan.
The pan is definitely better, but I gotta say, if I'm lazy and really hungry, I'm like, screw it, I don't care. Just like I would call and get some Taco Bell, well, not call, but I'd get some Taco Bell, they're putting those in the microwave. They seem like they're from the microwave. If I can do that every now and then, if I'm really hungry, really tired, I will.
My wife has like a special tortilla warming dish with a top on it. And it's got a little thing for you put a little bit of water in it so it kind of like steams the tortilla even in the microwave. Not as good as the pan, but it's not bad, and it's a goddamn sight better than just eating a raw ass cold tortilla.
Yeah, there's no excuse for that. That's what I learned is why I'm 95% actually, I'd say the pan. Other than having to like maybe and doing the dishes on a pan that's a non-stick, like it literally doesn't take that long as
it's pretty fast,
Your pan heats fast. But like the thought process often I could see not doing it, but I got in the habit of like, nope, as soon as I think of it, I just throw it in a pan. And it's not
it's a lot better in the pan.
Yeah. But if you have multiple tortillas, okay, that might take a while. Now I need more pans, right? It's a whole thing. See what I'm saying? One tortilla easy.
Yeah, when I'm making like a HelloFresh meal and I've got 6,
then
I'm
like an assembly
tired.
line. Yeah, microwave.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remedy Boots says, do you think more companies are going away with seasonality for smaller updates? Destiny for stories beyond Final Shape, Halo Infinite seasons for operations, which have all gone from being 3/4 of a month to around 4 to 6 weeks. Do you think it will be a good thing for people?
Well, there was a couple questions.
Okay.
I think it was like, are people getting away from seasonality? I have no idea, but I do think that the what were they calling it? The Gassiker, the games as a service bubble There's been a lot of fallout, right? We've seen it.
That's the first I've heard that, Fran, and I like it.
Yeah, I didn't come up with it. I forget it. I know people that use it, but I don't know where it started. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I think that it scared people for sure. And we actually saw that with PlayStation, right? They said, dialing back the number of live service games, right? And
Yeah.
and The Last of Us 2 is a perfect example of, I think,
Mm-hmm.
something was going on. And then they said, you know what? Like Naughty Dog's story is, this would consume our whole studio. And we're like, yeah, but you knew that. Like, probably. Or you set your bar so high that, like, probably still. But I think, yeah, that's happening. But I don't think live service is going away or anything. Like, it's existed in some form for a long time. And even then, like, all we're right now with Destiny, they're just calling it episodes. It's the expansions that might be going away on that front. But I don't know that that's it. But that's the feeling, right? We don't know what's happening beyond episodes.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that maybe developers are starting to understand that. Well, not developers, usually the suit people. That live service is very, very difficult and very expensive and very stressful, and not every team is made for that. And maybe it would be better, and it's not the end of the world if there's a bit of downtime, but you put out bigger content drops with longer periods between them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm personally would be a-okay with that. Because like with Destiny, I'll come back and play it. I know there's always the thing of like, if they leave, maybe they'll never come back.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just problematic because everybody wants their next thing to be World of Warcraft, GTA Online, whatever. And it's like, well, it's just, you can't, or like Destiny's been, it's really consumed an audience and engagement for a long time. So it's just not realistic to have every game. You're just competing with too many other games that are good that want to do that.
Yeah.
And then to your point, it's like, well, you can't support it at the quality you need either, is the lesson. And people really catch up to that fast. And then you got a toxic community.
What's that game
Like
that released on PlayStation 4 at launch that was a live service game? It's got the frames. A lot of Destiny people have played it.
That is a brilliant frame. I hope somebody captured it. If you said, what's that game that played? It was a frozen frame.
I can't remember
That at
the
launch
name of it.
On PlayStation 5 or 4?
4. Warframe.
Oh yeah.
There's room for games like that out there too, where it's like,
but they got in early,
you know?
too. Same thing. I feel like all these things, the ones you think of, they got in really early, Destiny included.
True.
And now it's so crowded, and then you've got like Fortnites of the world, Warzones of the world competing for that space kind of as well. Like the finals, and things like that. So
that's a good point too, because there's so much content now in Warframe. Like there's just so much. It's hard to even compete with that kind of thing. Buko16 says, which are you playing day one? Dragon Dogma 2 or Rise of Ronin? Or are you waiting for the undisputed game of the year on the 26th, South Park Snow Day?
I'm playing both.
Both, yeah.
Both same day, every day.
Both of those games to me are like, I got to be in the mood for either one of those games. So if I'm in the mood on release day, I'll pick one or the other up. I can't tell you which one it's going to be right now, though.
Yeah, I'm very torn. They're different, even though they're some action RPG soul in there, but very different, I think, ultimately. My gut would be like, Rise of the Ronin, though, if you force me to choose.
Basil says, you're at a gas station getting a Slurpee. What flavor are you going with?
All of them.
Yeah, that was my first reaction.
I don't even care what flavors they have. I'm like give me all the
flavors, one cup.
Yeah.
When it turns like black or brown, but it still tastes good.
Yep.
I'll take the shit brown color, please.
Throw some Coke in there too.
Ooh, that's a lot.
But no, I would. That was my first reaction, was chaos. But usually I'm gonna be more into like red or purple variety, whatever those flavors are. I do not like tropical flavors personally in most of my desserts and slushies.
Punch? Wouldn't that be tropical?
But it could be, yeah. Well, no. Fruit punch probably has some pineapple in it, let's face it. That's fine. I like pineapple, but I don't want it all pineapple. But I'm saying watermelon, berry, blueberry, purple Saurus Rex, whatever that is. You know what I'm talking about. If it comes in Pop Rocks variety, probably makes good slushy.
Yeah.
I don't think they do fruit.
I think I'm gonna go lemonade. If they got lemonade flavor, I'll go lemonade.
What? That's the most like basic mid choice of all. Lemonade?
Fuck you, Fran.
Why don't you
I
just
love
get
lemonade.
a lemonade?
I love watermelon.
Watermelon.
Get a lemon.
Watermelon's
why-
delicious.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
don't have
saying.
my
Watts.
cans anymore. I was going to show you.
Why wouldn't Briar just get a lemonade? I'm
I
confused.
prefer a lemonade because, let's face
That's
it,
what
I'm
I'm
not.
saying.
The chances of me going to a gas station and getting a Slurpee are pretty slim.
I'm not going in the gas station.
No,
Well, that doesn't
ever.
concern me at all.
Nope.
Just wait. I need to know more
It's
about
sussy
that.
in there. Or
It's-
or out there. It's sussy.
Is it
Getting
the
gas,
people?
honestly, is
Is it
terrifying.
everything from the people working there to the people like
mostly the people
clients?
visiting. I think the people working there are usually pretty great.
Okay. Like you're worried a Breaking Bad situation's gonna like break out. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
Something like that. Okay. If Briar's in there getting a lemonade slushy, to be honest, pretty sussy.
I
I'd be like,
go to
why
a
not?
convenience store or a gas station. I bet 5 times a week at least. At least.
You're just proving her point.
Yes, that's a good point.
You're proving my point. You're proving her point. You're getting lemonade slushy, and you said you'd rather get a lemonade anyway.
It's milk.
He's
What is
probably
Briar-
getting
milk.
sushi
My wife
too.
calls me up. She says, "Can you get milk on the way home?" I'm like, milk. It's always milk.
And you got to go to the gas station. Like you're already past the grocery store.
I'm not going to go to the grocery store 5 times a week to get milk.
How much milk are you drinking?
Dude, I got 2 kids. We drink so much
Oh.
milk. You'd be it's
Healthy
insane.
bones.
It's crazy to think about.
You need to get a cow. And a lemon tree.
And a lemon tree.
Mm.
And a nice
Fran, I know
I have a
you're
lemon tree
low
and a
on
lemon
time.
tree.
No,
tonight,
I'm
right?
okay now. We're fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm chilling because I'm not like starving or anything either. And
Okay.
I got the Suicide Squad. I'm gonna be playing it later, is what I told him. But I'm like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm not worried about the time.
Zachary Richard says this or that video games edition, same category but different games. All right, here we go.
Okay.
Open world. Which one? Pick one. Open world, Elden Ring or Tears of the Kingdom? Oh, Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Story-based game, Hellblade 1 or Alan Wake 1?
Alan Wake one.
Go Hellblade 1.
I'm gonna go
I haven't played
Hellblade.
Alan Wake 1.
I'm gonna go. I have played Alan Wake. Hellblade is just like such a different experience that I kind of find it hard to put it up against anything. To be honest, it's just its own thing. It's very special.
Disclosure: I need to play it still, but I know what it is.
Platform, Ori and the Blind Forest or Jet Set Radio?
What? Why'd they do that?
That one's so different.
I mean, well, I got to be honest because like one is just much more modernized. It would be Ori. Like I love Jet Set and all, but like as a
I
very
still have my
gotta
copy
go
of Jet Set
Ori.
Radio for the Dreamcast.
I really like
And they're
Ori.
coming out with a new version, right? They're making a new one.
Yeah, is that part of the lineup too? It was. I was trying to remember. Did they announce
Yeah.
that as part of the new
Yeah.
Sega remake
Jet Set
stuff?
Radio.
Like, but no, Ori's. It's not about what game would I want a remake of. It was like of those two choices. I mean, Ori's incredible. It's
I think
it
I
is
gotta
an
go Jet
incredible
Set
game.
Radio, but if you said Ori and the Will of the Wisps, I think I might have to go Ori and the Will of the Wisps because I liked Ori and the Will of the Wisps like a lot better than Blind Forest. Party game, Mario Party or Among Us? Among Us and Mario Party make enemies. Like they turn friends into.
I was
they
gonna
do.
say, like, so the problem with them, like, I can invite anyone to come play Mario Party.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
Among Us, some people really don't like lying. They don't like people yelling at them. It's accusing them of things.
Yeah.
So it's a little harder to get everyone in on the Among Us action. Like I had people who were like, "Yeah, that's not my thing. I don't want to come again." People are
Yep.
yelling at me. So I'm like,
Yes,
okay, that's fair.
spot on that it will make enemies of your friends. But definitely Mario Party for that reason. It's just too much setup and like all that stuff. I love Among Us though, but so it's a big whole thing.
Aang says, "What are your guys' favorite special edition consoles?" Mine is the Spider-Man 2 PS5. Long live SRL. I don't even like the Spider-Man games, but that Spider-Man 2 PS5 was kind of sick.
It was very good.
Yeah. The Destiny PlayStation 4 was pretty good too.
Let me see if
I
I
gotta
can
see
get. Can I just
stuff.
get some pictures of consoles?
This is one of the.
Yeah.
Remember we told you all to send lists with your questions. Come on now.
The
Or did
Pokemon
they? just
N64.
kidding.
I don't know a Pokemon fan, but the Pokemon N64 was pretty cool.
Yes.
because
That one with
they-
Pikachu on it.
Yeah,
that was
they
very
made
good.
like a whole new shell for that with Pikachu
They
and
did.
Yes.
a Pokeball like in 3D relief. Like that's the most impressive one, I think.
That's
I wanted
actually what
that
I was,
really
I was
bad.
searching for in my mind. I was going to say I can't really vote unless I've seen it in person because it's a very big difference. So I feel like even looking at photos, like I can still pick something, but you got to like see it and see how it lights up and the feel and the touch. So I don't have any of that, but I was searching for it and I brought it up before. The Pokemon N64 is probably the one. It's a Pokeball, I think, is the Switch.
Is it?
And maybe they did
It
something
is
with the
the
Switches.
Pokeball. The Pokeball is the Switch. Yeah,
It's
to turn it
amazing.
on and off.
Yes, it's
And then-
really, really good.
That's
is
not
very good.
that's not in my head, right? The Pikachu is like molded out of plastic, right?
Oh no,
he's
Yeah.
on there.
Yeah, okay.
He looks like a button himself.
Yeah, it's not a sticker.
Yeah, that's
though. It's
right.
like they
It's a-
molded a
No.
new N64 shell.
it's a blue top, yellow bottom, half and half.
Yeah.
Nintendo 64, but then they put the Pokeball red and white on the power button, and then Pikachu is just like yellow, imprinted,
Massive.
embossed off to the side like an
Yeah.
actual 3D emboss. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a
I
really
don't
good
even like
pick.
Pokemon. I always respected that because they just went
Yeah.
so far.
And his
I really like
feet-
the Gears of War
That's right.
360. I don't remember which Gears of War game it was, but it was all red and had like barbed wire and like gore
Yeah.
splattered on it. That was cool. Like
By the way,
edgy
Pikachu's
90s
foot
game.
is the reset button.
Mhm.
It's amazing. That's a really good pick. Hard to beat.
Charles B. Davis says, have any of you played the recap missions? I played them today and was pleasantly surprised. I'd almost forgotten. They have me excited about big story moments in Cade's comeback. I think we're pretty close to being legend, guys. Oh my God.
We finally made it. Woo!
I've been meaning to play that, but my feeling is I'm like, oh, I've probably already played that. I guess I'm wrong. Meaning I know that it's like going back to an old. He's talking about like what do they call I forget what they call those missions. They are recap missions, right? But I thought there's a name for them. But in any event, I assumed it was just like the old Beyond Light. No, yeah, can't even remember anymore. But I thought it was just like going back to that mission, and they sort of just like, I don't know, did something to let you recap. But I'll have to go check it out in short. I don't know.
Recob fan says, hey y'all, I'm excited to hear your thoughts on Skull and Bones. Any of you think you'll give it a try?
I will be.
Fran has played it, right? You played
Played the beta.
Played the beta. Yeah.
There's another beta.
They're having
coming
another beta very soon.
Yeah.
next weekend, I believe.
Oh, really?
Did you
Mhm.
like the beta?
So we may have even talked about it. So I'd reference some previous ones at depth. In short, I was really surprised at it's a reminder that even though it's clearly like a live service style game, it is I think $50 base game, premium, quote unquote. It's a game that you're paying for, that you're gonna get stuff. So you can go out and earn stuff for your ship. You can earn, ways to style everything. And then it's very focused on like ship combat and like where you put the cannons and how you turn your ship. It's very like strategic. One thing I saw from the audience they didn't like or some of the audience was like, oh, you can like boost your ship. Like it's not all wind. Like it has almost like a sprint function to kind of keep
Like
you
you can
going.
row?
I don't know about. Yeah, I don't know about that. But the point is you can literally like kind of boost but you also use the wind. It pushes against you and all these details. But they were like, it's not real. And I was like, if you look at any game and like, there's all kinds of things that don't make any sense. You're going to starve if you don't eat every, day. So you want them to make you like go to the land and cook and eat every 12 hours, like in real time? Like probably not. But in any event, I was really surprised at the quality, and it's got a story and everything. So is it going to be too grindy? And how is the actual ship combat? Because they capped us. Like, how that game, just as when you get going, it's they're not letting you really get into it. And you're supposed to be able to PvP other ships. So I'm at the very least looking forward to like this game has been out there for a very long time.
Yeah.
And everybody's got questions. It's
been a long time.
Like
canceled, not canceled. It's back.
Built off the Black Flag engine, right? Which was an Xbox 360 PS3 game.
Yeah.
I mean,
which
that's
now
a long
though
ass time ago.
It waited so long that now they kind of did do that as a new franchise. But then because you can't like get onto the ship, as far as we know, and do like hand-to-hand Assassin's Creed combat as well, people are like, that's stupid, you know? And it's like, I get that actually, but it's definitely focused on being I call it an RPG. So it wants to be that. And we'll see. I think it's going to probably be too grindy and like for the status. But seems like you can make some really dope looking ship designs and like sail them around. Be like, oh dang, you've been working for it. It's definitely focused on that. But you can get off on land and explore. And then well, forget it. I'm done with it. Forgot what I was gonna say.
I'll probably check it out at least. This demo.
I don't think it's.
If I got time, I'm gonna check out this demo.
Yeah, I don't think it's a mass appeal game. But if you really wanted to get into like a pirate RPG, I think it's compelling. Yeah, whether it's not going to be worth your time, $50, it's hard to say, but it's out in a few weeks in full.
Makes me just want to get in to Sea of Thieves with you guys again.
Yeah, it's worth noting too. It's a very different game. On paper, you like it. Why don't I just play Sea of Thieves? It's free on Game Pass or free altogether now, right? Or maybe it was always free. But it's very different. It is very focused on being like a little more of a hardcore, story-driven sail RP. You're sailing from port to port, developing your ship and your skills. So
Gator says, hey DCP, almost Friday. Question, who do you think will win the Super Bowl?
Who's in the Super Bowl?
2 football teams.
Who is it?
Wait, the 49ers made it, right?
Right? I'm so out of
Lewis
the loop.
Hamilton in a Ferrari.
Okay, got it.
I didn't think the next game happened for is it the Chiefs for sure, or I guess it is, according to Google.
Chiefs and the 49ers.
I think the better man will come out on top.
But wait, who will win? I mean, I'm from San Francisco, so I better just say the San Francisco 49ers.
Who's
the Bears
gonna
ever
win?
make it? Yeah, Chiefs
the
or Niners?
49ers.
Let's go. West Coast. Watts representing.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna.
Briar, come on. You're not gonna choose?
I'll go 49ers.
Yeah, let's go. We got solidarity.
Last question of the night. We got plenty more, but I gotta wrap this one up. Noxmorn says Silent Hill short message was the reason I dug out my PS4 to relive PT. Then instantly reminded me I'm too old for them jump scares. What are your thoughts on Silent Hill 2? Are we excited or are we over it?
I am looking forward to Silent Hill 2. I'm looking forward to the new Silent Hill, but I have absolutely become a big old wimp in my old age. I didn't used to be so scared. I was 9 years old playing Resident Evil going, yeah, this is great.
Resident Evil wasn't that scary. Silent Hill was scary.
Silent Hill was scary, and I was scared. But even as a kid, I'm like, yeah, you know, I'm a little scared, but this is fine. But now I'm like, everything is terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm not interested in this at all.
I don't care one way or another. I mean, it's funny because I played some Silent Hill stuff, but not at depth. And like the whole game is just freaky, spooky, twisted. It's more of the twisted nature and sort of the mental scarring you get from like, frankly, it takes some pretty big swings. That's sort of just like traumatic. It's less about jump scares. I don't like Alan Wake has jump scares, you know, but Silent Hill is just twisted and like, let's put it this way. The short message, I think, had a wall full of like eyeballs on notes that were moving, and it was like a wall of eyeballs, you know, stuff like that. It's not a jump scare, but dude, I can't close my eyes after seeing that stuff. But I'm down for it. So I'm still
I've become a wimp. You know what? The game I'm not gonna play. There was a game that was revealed at the Game Awards that was like on a oil rigger in the ocean.
Oh,
and it
yeah.
looked like a scary game. They put out some gameplay very recently.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I was like, if you get me like 7,000 subs, I'll think about it. But that thing looks like I'm gonna die. Because I get chest pain in video game water. And this is a scary video game in water. And I was like, no, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Unless
I'm a
you give me
huge wuss.
lots of
I'm not
money.
into it.
It's actually on my list as it's called Still Wakes the Deep.
Ah, that's it. I was looking for it.
And it says, if you give me lots of money.
Let's not have
Perfect.
any stakes about what lots mean. We mean lots of money.
I mean, like, you can pay for my medical bills if I get heart palpitations.
I mean, Watts, you just found your next streamathon. Like, you just set the timer to be like it's up there. You guys want to watch me play this? You got.
want to watch me be
They're
terrified.
gonna do it. They're gonna do it.
All right,
But we
guys,
don't want to
thank
like
you
send her
all.
to the ER.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
No ER.
No ER. That's all I was. That's where we draw the line.
That's going to do it for this episode, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with more video game stuffs.
We will. I'll tell you all about Grand Blue Fantasy Relink.
I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, also the Steam Next Fest would have happened, so I'll have a bunch of demos that I played too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's always fun. I like Steam Next Fest.
It's so much fun. You just try a bunch of games. It's great.
Yeah. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.